Welcome back to the channel. My name is Tronage, and today we're going to be talking about the ISDT FD-100 battery discharger to basically take the juice out of your LiPos when you're done flying. Stay tuned. So before I start talking about gear and equipment and stuff like that, let me first give you a quick lesson on LiPo packs, because this is important to know. Why do we care about discharging a LiPo pack? It's really simple. Regardless of how many cells your LiPo pack has, I'm going to be talking in per cell number. So if you have a 3-cell battery, a 3S battery, you have 3 cells, and each individual cell at fully charged would be 4.2 volts. Okay, so when I say a battery fully charged at 4.2 volts, that's per cell. Okay, a fully discharged LiPo pack would be at like 3.3 volts per cell maximum, and that number you don't really even want to get near. If you're flying it and there's a load applied to that battery and you're looking at voltages on an OSD, you probably should be landing around 3.6 volts per cell. 3.5 volts if you really want to kind of push it a little bit. I mean, you could go further, but personally speaking, I feel like that's putting a little bit of undue wear and tear on the battery, because the more you abuse it, the less it's going to last. And if you're like me and you buy something, you want to make that thing last. So proper care will help increase how long your LiPo packs last. You probably, on your charger that you're using, it probably has a storage function, and you can clip on your battery and hit storage and it'll do whatever it needs to do. And that's true, they all mostly will do that. Chargers are great at charging. They can really charge up fine. What chargers don't do good at is discharging, because it requires to have some form of a load, lights, resistors, something to pull the power out of the battery. That also generates a lot of heat, and that's usually an issue within a charger. So usually chargers, like for example the chargers I use, depending on how many cells the battery has, it'll do for a 3S pack, it'll do 0.8 amps, and for like a 4S pack, it'll do 0.6 amps, or even you can have those ISDT Q6, the little awesome portable chargers, and they'll do like 0.4 amps for a 4S pack, which that takes a very long time to pull the power out of a pack. It also puts a little wear and tear on the charger, because it's generating a lot of heat, the internals are getting hot, it's running the fans at like full blast. If you can have a dedicated thing to do the discharging, it saves you wear and tear on your charger. As well, it's good practice to put your batteries into storage. So when I come home from a day of flying, I make sure to put all my batteries into storage mode. If they're low, I charge them up. If they're high, I put them on a discharger so that everything's at 3.8 per cell, regardless of the pack, ready to go for the next time I go flying, and then I can charge them up when it's time to go charging. So I did a video a little while ago about the Aokoda battery discharger. I'll put a link in the corner here. But essentially this was a way to discharge your packs, and it uses 3 light bulbs as the load to pull the power out of the battery. The disadvantage to this is it creates a lot of heat, it creates a lot of light, and it's not very portable because you have this whole apparatus. If you don't build this apparatus, this I came up with, instructions are in the video how to build this, unit here. But if you didn't have this unit, you'd have these little naked light bulbs just dangling on wires, and that's not very portable. I don't feel comfortable putting that in my bag, for example. So I was looking for a product that was more self-contained and could do the same function, and I wanted to be able to bring it with me on site, because you can charge, let's say you charge 10 packs and you're going to go out flying, and then you get to your site and you only fly about 6 of them. Well, now you got 4 packs that are still fully charged and you're on your way home. Maybe you start discharging them on your way home. Or let's say you're flying a pack and you land a little early because you had a crash and now you prop broke and you bring it in and stuff. Whatever the case is, maybe you only half used a pack. Well, why not start discharging it while you're on the site? So this way you don't have to spend a lot of time doing it when you come home. So these were different things that were going through my head. So this ISDT product is like exactly what I'm looking for. Very self-contained, very easy to use, and very durable, where you can just throw it in your bag and not worry about it and have it in the field. Now that you understand how it works, and now that you understand why we care about discharging batteries, why don't you come in, we'll open it up, we'll unbox it. All right, so here we have the ISDT FD-100 discharge unit. It's the smart discharge. And we're gonna do the unboxing now. It has the shrink wrap still on it. So we're gonna do a little cutaway action here. Okay. And from the start, we have some cool stickers here. We have a, guess what I would call an instruction manual. All right. So I'll let you take a peek at that. And then we have what looks like the actual unit. Just pop that out. Couple little foam feet. On this side we have the fan, as well as the upgrade port. On this side we have our buttons where we can set the amount of current and the amount of cells in our battery pack, and it has little lights for that. And then on this side we have the XT60 connector and the venting for the air to flow through. All right, so I got a lot of things here out for you guys, so it's a little confusing, but we'll break it down real easy. So first, we have this unit. We already did a whole review on this, talked about it and how it works. I showed you that earlier, but I just wanted to put it here for comparison just to see how things work. This is my amp meter that I have that we're going to be using to see how much power things pull out. That's a LiPo battery. And this is the ISDT FD-100 battery discharger. So, for a reference point, we're going to use the Aecoda version. I'm going to plug in my amp meter to my battery. I'll turn that towards you guys. I'm going to plug the other end into the module to do the discharging. And I'm going to plug the balance lead into here. Now the one thing I will tell you is that these numbers are not very accurate. Right now they're all showing 420, but as this battery discharges, cell 1 always goes faster. But if I check the cells are still in balance. So don't always go by this. I would not use this as a battery checker. I don't find it to be very accurate. But anyway, we can see here we're not drawing any amps, we're not drawing any watts. We have 16.67 volts. Nothing's been drawn. So basically we're just kind of sitting here idle. So let's set this to do discharge. And it's going to start drawing the power and the lights are going to start turning on. So you can see kind of as it's going along, we're hovering right around 5 amps, 4 amps, 5 amps, 6 amps there. So it's kind of bouncing around a little bit. Our wattages we're looking at between, here we are at 69, 89, 68, 88. So you get kind of a good idea of where we're at and how much power we're pulling. But essentially we're at kind of like a 4 or 5 amps and around a 60 to an 80 watts of power being pulled out for any given moment. Okay, so now we'll disconnect this. And you see this is very bulky and big. Now for the ISDT product, we plug this in. And then to turn it on, you just click the buttons to start it up. So we'll do cells, and the lights are a little dim, but it's already lit up on a 4S, and it's set to be a 6 amp discharge. And you'll see it turns the fan on, but it's still not, it doesn't just go right into pulling the power out. It kind of ramps itself up a little bit. See, it's still kind of waiting, getting a feel for it. Now it's starting to discharge power. And what's nice is that basically it's a little bit more gentle to the battery. It doesn't just slam it with a load.
That's what she said. Or he said.
It actually eases it into it, pulling the power out of it. And you can see now it's sort of stabilized itself, and it doesn't jump around as much as the AOCODA version. And it's sitting right around 5.2, 5.25 amps draw. And the wattage is around 84, 85, and it's just kind of sitting there, and it's doing a constant discharge. So you can see this is a little bit more refined in my opinion, because it's actually pulling the power out in a very controlled manner. So that's pretty much it. Now the thing to realize with this one is there is no balance connection as there is with the AOCODA. So it's not keeping track of each individual cell. It's just draining it through the main line as if this was a quad or any other device you had hooked up to it. So I'm going to disconnect it so that it doesn't make so much noise. Okay. I'd like to make this a video more specifically about the ISDT product, but being that I already have the AOCODA version, I kind of want to do a little bit of a comparison as well. This one you already know how it works. I did a whole video on it. The pros and the cons of this unit are, the pros are, number one, it monitors your cell voltages. The con to it is it's a little bit more aggressive to the battery, kind of just jumps right in there and starts pounding it with power. It's sort of like, you know, doesn't ease it in, doesn't ease it out. And you saw it wasn't very consistent. It's kind of jumping all over the place, up and down voltages. So it's not as meticulous pulling the power out. Also, as a con, you have naked light bulbs that create heat that can, you know, burn someone or something, unless you put it in a unit like this. And then if you have it in a unit like this, it becomes very unwieldy, and it kind of just sits on your desk to be used not so much in the field or in your toolkit, if you will. That would be the cons to this unit. But overall, I still use this unit all the time, and I still love using this unit. Now, the ISDT product. I mean, first of all, this is so compact. It's so user-friendly in the sense of you plug it in, you click on, and it goes. You know, it's not so complicated. You don't have to set anything like the AOCODA one. You have to set where you want your cutoffs to be, and then it does, you know, it's much more simplistic. You plug it in, you turn it on, it goes. The disadvantage is it's acting just like any other load that you plugged your battery onto, like a quad. If you're flying your quad around, it's not measuring individual cells. If you do have that option turned on in your OSD to show individual cells, it's not measuring each individual cell. It's just taking the average, meaning if you had, let's say, 8.4 volts and it's a 2S pack, it's just going to divide by 2 and say 4.2 volts. That's how it's figuring out your individual cell voltage. It's just an average of take the number, divide by the number of cells. And that's exactly what this is doing. You tell it how many cells, and it's going to take whatever voltage it sees and divide by that number so that it knows roughly what each cell is at so it can discharge it properly. So it's not monitoring each cell, so that could pose an issue for abused packs or used packs or packs that have issues or bad cells or whatever. That could potentially have an issue. The other pro to this is it's so easy to put in your bag. It's rugged, it's hard metal, and you can just stick it in your pack and you have it with you on the go. So if you half fly a pack and you crash and you switch out to a fresh one, you can just throw it on here while you're flying and finish it off the rest of the way. So when you come home, it's already discharged, ready to go. Or if you don't manage to finish all your packs while you're driving home or while whatever, you can throw a pack on here and start discharging it so you're not wasting time when you get home. The advantage to this is it doesn't have any light like the other one is, so you don't have to worry about any like making a shade or anything for it. But it does get pretty warm because it's basically using resistors to create a load, and the resistors convert the electricity pretty much into heat, and the fan runs to try to cool it down, which you heard starts getting really loud, and that's just the beginning. It gets louder and louder as it gets faster and faster. At its full capacity, it is a pretty loud fan, and it does get pretty warm. It's not hot to the touch, but it's not very comfortable to hold it. So it does get pretty darn warm even while it's discharging, and it does make a lot of noise. So you're sacrificing bulkiness and light and heat for compact with noise and heat. So out of the two of these, which would I recommend? It really depends on what you'd like to do. I think this is a better product. It's more refined. It's more stable. When you're pulling power out of the battery, it's a very stable current. It slowly ramps up, and then at the end it'll slowly ramp down. It's just a much more, there's circuitry in here monitoring what it's doing, and I don't know. It just seems much more of a refined process to pull the power out of a battery pack. However, this is much more expensive. This unit is much cheaper, even when you include buying the parts to make this little shade, but it's kind of like the quick and dirty. It's essentially, this unit monitors voltages, and then this unit tells these light bulbs to turn on and off. So it's really just as when those light bulbs are on, it sucks the power out, and when the light bulbs are off, it stops sucking the power out. So if you're on a budget, this is probably the one you'd want to get because it's a lot cheaper. But if you have the money and you want a little bit more higher end discharger, this would be the one that I recommend. This is the one that I use more often than not, just because of its simplicity and easy to use. And again, like I said, I take care of my batteries, so I know that they don't have any bad cells. And if I do find out one has a bad cell, I basically mark it as being a suspect pack, and I kind of treat it differently. So I don't have that issue of worrying about this over discharging anything, because I'm really on top of all my packs, keeping track of them, keeping track of how they charge. If I personally had to pick just one of these two, I probably would take the ISDT product, but I can't tell you what's great for you. Only you know that information. I'm just here to give you the tools to make an educated decision. But these are two very great ways to discharge batteries that are maybe not at storage voltage that you want to bring to storage voltage. The other advantage to this one is it's completely self-contained. It's like a little brick and off you go. The other problem I have with this one is it's like three parts. You have like this part, then you have the module, then you have the lights, then you have the shade and stuff. Like, I don't know. I personally like this one better, but I'm happy I have both because I do find that they both work really well. So the choice is yours. So as always, my name is Tronage. Fly strong. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, you really should subscribe. I'm always posting new content. If you'd like to help support the channel and get access to giveaways, raffles, and other exclusive benefits, consider joining the Tronage family on the Patreon page. Here's some videos that you might be interested in. This is the latest one that I posted, and this one I think you might just like. Go check them out.